In this video, we will explain what would the next generation of Hashira look like. We'll talk about how strong would they be and what powers they would have. We also have a custom drawing for every future Hashira, so you definitely want to watch it till the end. Let's start with the future flower pillar, Kanao Tsuyuri. Our girl Kanao has been through a lot, but she managed to recover with the help of the Kocho sisters. Due to the trauma she endured, Kanao bottled up all her emotions and struggled to make any kind of decisions by herself. It was Kanae, the former flower Hashira, who gave her a coin and suggested that she flip it to decide which path she should follow. Slowly, as she grew up in the care of the Kocho sisters, Kanao started expressing her emotions and started making decisions as well. In fact, Kanao's deep hatred for demons and her decision to become a demon slayer was of her own volition. And guess what? She was one of the strongest demon slayers at the time of the final selection and is also a student to 2 Hashira. That itself sets her apart from the rest of the demon slayers. So how would she do as the future Hashira? As the new flower Hashira, Kanao would share some resemblance with the Kocho sisters, as she was trained by both of them. She would possess abilities and skills that would far exceed the previous Hashira. Currently, Kanao is extremely fast, such that she can easily outspeed both Inosuke and Tanjiro, so we can only imagine how fast she would be as a Hashira. Additionally, if we talk about her skills, Kanao would be a master swordsman, much like the late flower Hashira, Kanae. However, she will surely outshine the previous Hashira, as her swordsmanship was admired by Doma as well, whom she defeated with the help of Inosuke. Moving forward, Kanao uses the flower breathing style, which she learned and mastered simply by observing the late Hashira, Kanae. Our future Hashira would be exceptional at using various forms of the breathing style, having a better grip on it than ever before. Most importantly, she would master the final form of the flower breathing style, 𝗕𝗲𝗰𝐴, which is a technique that significantly increases the kinetic vision of the user and allowing the user to have incredible perception. However, the final form is quite dangerous and can cause blindness in the user. On the other hand, a skilled demon slayer like Kanao would considerably reduce the damage taken by mastering the technique. What's more, Kanao was also trained by Shinobu, the insect Hashira. Therefore, she might possess some of her medicinal capabilities as well and would take over the butterfly mansion. In short, Kanao would be showcasing a beautiful mixture of the abilities taught to her by the Kocho sisters, while effectively delivering a unique color of her own to the position of the flower Hashira. Up next, we have a remarkably unique demon slayer, Genya Shinazugawa. What's so different about him? Our boy Genya had an unimaginable tragic past and belonged to a family of 9. One day, a demon killed off the Shinazugawa siblings and badly scarred Genya. Sanemi, the wind Hashira, and the older brother of Genya tried to protect him while he escaped and tried to look for a doctor. Upon coming back and witnessing Sanemi kill off their mother, who was the demon behind the killings of their siblings, Genya misunderstood the situation and thought that his brother was a murderer and assumed that his siblings were killed off by a wolf instead. The terrible event caused the Shinazugawa brothers to have a broken relationship throughout the anime. Although Genya realized his mistake and tried to get closer to his brother by becoming a demon slayer, Sanemi never acknowledged him, making him realize just how weak he was compared to others. However, Genya continued to work hard to become a Hashira and get closer to his older brother. So how powerful would Genya be as the future Hashira? Despite not being able to use a breathing technique like his fellow demon slayers, Genya managed to not only survive, but kick butt with the help of the repetitive action technique taught to him by Gyome Himejima. The guy trained under the strongest Hashira of the current generation, so he's bound to be incredibly tough even though without possessing a breathing technique. Furthermore, Genya can temporarily obtain unique demonic powers depending on the demon he consumes. Do you know what that means? As a Hashira, Genya would master this technique and would practically be invincible, especially if he consumes any part of Muzan Kibutsuji. The future Hashira would be an exceptional user of the blood demon art similar to that of Nezuko's and would create several techniques of his own. As Genya can create bullets from his flesh, he could learn to create many different weapons and objects to tackle demons effectively. Additionally, Genya is an expert marksman and a master swordsman, making him an exceptional and brilliant Hashira of the next generation. Genya has set an example of his own by possessing unique abilities and honing them to the point that he could easily attack an upper moon without even being a breath user. Now that's something even the strongest demon slayers would struggle with. Let's talk about the boar-headed boy, Inosuke Hashibira. On the surface, Inosuke seems to be quite reckless and carefree, but that's far from the truth. Growing up, Inosuke has suffered from quite a few scars himself, explaining his eccentric behavior throughout the series. Inosuke's mother escaped from his abusive father and was taken in by the upper moon rank 2 demons cult. Upon realizing the reality of the situation she was in, Inosuke's mother ran away and tried to protect her son by throwing him in the river, desperately hoping he would survive. Unfortunately, in the end, she was unable to save herself and was devoured by Doma. Later, Inosuke was adopted by boars and brought up by them, such that he wears the head of his dead adopted boar mother. Although Inosuke didn't receive any kind of proper training from a Hashira like the rest of his teammates did, his strength has been acknowledged by many, including both humans and demons. So the question stands, how would an eccentric person like Inosuke be as the future Hashira? The boar-headed guy has this obsession with doing his best and constantly improving, such that he considers brutal conditions and torture as a training method. The desire for consistent improvement may make him one of the strongest Hashira in the future, having several new tricks and techniques up his sleeves. What's more, the guy developed his own breathing technique, known as the beast breathing, due to the harsh conditions he had to face while living in the woods. That's how good he is. Combine his insane instinct and reflexes with formal training for a Hashira, Inosuke would reach a whole new level, becoming unimaginably powerful. As a Hashira, he would heavily rely on breathing forms that are connected to his exceptional swordsmanship skills. Most probably, the new techniques he learns will further heighten his perception and reflexes, allowing him to efficiently tackle any demon by identifying their locations and their weaknesses in a matter of seconds. Much like Genya, Inosuke would set new standards for the next generation of demon slayers, proving that some fancy breathing form is not needed to be strong. His dedication to training and improvement would be admirable for most demon slayers. Up next, we have a fan favorite, Zenitsu Agatsumi. We know how passionate Zenitsu can be when it comes to girls and finding a wife, which caused him many problems in the past. Zenitsu never had anyone to properly guide him as a child, so he ended up getting scammed by a girl he dearly loved. Poor guy was left drowning in debt and was offered financial help by Jigoro Kuwajima, the previous Thunder Hashira. Jigoro then also took it upon himself to train Zenitsu as a swordsman. The thunder-breathing user suffers from self-esteem issues throughout the anime and doesn't believe that he's capable of killing anything but a bug. However, he managed to slay some of the strongest demons out there, and what's even more interesting, he did all of that while being unconscious. So let's talk about Zenitsu as the future Hashira. How would he be? And would he overcome his weaknesses? Despite being a coward with multiple self-esteem issues, Zenitsu is an extraordinarily powerful thunder-breathing user and a master swordsman. Much like the other characters, he would add a different flavor of his own to the position of the Thunder Hashira, offering a unique set of skills and abilities. He would grow up to be the most mature and influential person, which may seem impossible at the moment, but he will eventually become more confident, competent, and mature. Although Zenitsu's main specialty is that he has perfectly mastered one form of the thunder breathing style, as a Hashira, he would learn the remaining forms as well. This is because Zenitsu's nerves and self-esteem issues prevent him from unleashing his full power. As he slowly grows and becomes more confident, he will have no trouble learning the remaining forms of thunder breathing and wouldn't need to fall asleep to fight any demon. What's more, with how talented Zenitsu is, he would develop various techniques linked to his heightened senses and incredible speed and reflexes. Overall, he would make a killer Thunder Hashira, and his growth would surely bring joy to all the fans. Finally, we have our main character, heart of the fandom, Tanjiro Kamado. Tanjiro had an unimaginable tough time throughout the series. Being the eldest child, he's endured a lot of hardships for his family. He was quite young when his father died, but he took it upon himself to protect his family and became the sole breadwinner for them. Tanjiro learned coal burning and sold charcoal in nearby villages and towns to earn money for his family. One day, while he was working, Tanjiro's entire family was killed by Muzan, and only Nezuko was left alive. Imagine a 13-year-old kid witnessing his entire family covered in blood. How traumatic would that be for him? Despite the terrible events he saw, Tanjiro still tried to save Nezuko and did whatever he could to help her become a human again. Tanjiro went through extreme training to become a demon slayer to avenge his family. His only aim was to kill the demon who attacked his family, except it was the Demon King himself who did the deed, leading to Tanjiro pushing himself to his limits to fight on equal footing with him. We already know how incredibly strong Tanjiro is as a demon slayer, so how would he be as the future Hashira? As the next Water Hashira or possibly the Sun Hashira, Tanjiro would probably be much stronger than the previous Hashira. Since Tanjiro has learned two different breathing styles, the water breathing and the sun breathing, he would have a large set of unique abilities by the time he becomes a Hashira. As the new Hashira, Tanjiro would share an extreme resemblance with the first breath user, Yoriichi Sugikuni. He would perfectly master all the forms of Hinokami Kagura, to the point that he could manipulate 2 breathing styles to create new forms of his choice. Furthermore, Tanjiro has always been a natural talent when it comes to combat, and he possesses extraordinary senses as well, which allowed him to fight against Giyu Tomioka in the beginning. However, as a Hashira, that isn't the only attribute he would possess. Tanjiro would also set an example for the upcoming generation through his kind and empathetic nature, and also his undaunted will and spirit that allowed him to reach where he is now. Overall, Tanjiro Kamado would be an exceptional Hashira, and possibly the strongest ever. He would be admired and respected by many people around the world, and that's exactly what he deserves for being so brave and remaining unhinged through all the obstacles he faced. Click on this video where we covered the entire story of Muzan Kibutsuji. Go on, click on it. I promise, it's an excellent video.